Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Rare finds, hidden gems, and big money surprises in your everyday change take center stage, and today we dive deep into one particular coin that may look ordinary at first glance but hides within it a fascinating story of errors, minting anomalies, and numismatic oddities that have propelled its value far beyond its humble face worth of 1 cent. Yes, we are talking about the remarkable 2007 Lincoln cent, a coin that, due to a variety of minting mistakes and unforeseen imperfections, now commands as much as $422 in the collector's market, making it one of those modern-era coins that continue to stun both beginner and veteran coin enthusiasts alike. And as we unravel the minute details, layered causes, and the variety of errors that have led this 2007 penny to become a prized collectible, you'll begin to understand why sometimes the smallest pieces of change can yield the biggest returns, starting with the historical backdrop and the minting context, which form the foundational bedrock of its current value. Because in 2007 the Lincoln Memorial cent was still in production and bore the reverse design of the Lincoln Memorial, which had been standard since 1959, but it was also just 2 years before the major redesign of the Lincoln cent in 2009, marking the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth and the centennial of the Lincoln cent itself, meaning the 2007 cent stands at the edge of an important transitional phase in American coinage history, which always piques the interest of collectors, especially when mint errors are involved. And oh, are there errors with this one, some of which are so dramatic or so subtle they elude even seasoned collectors, but once spotted can catapult the value of the coin hundreds of dollars above its nominal denomination. And among the most widely reported errors found on the 2007 Lincoln cents are off-center strikes, a classic error that occurs when the planchette is not properly seated within the coining chamber during the minting process, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing while another portion appears disproportionately stretched or misaligned. And in the case of a 2007 penny with an off-center strike that still maintains full-date visibility, collectors have been known to pay upwards of $100 to $200 for those alone. But even more valuable are the coins exhibiting double die obverse errors, in which the hubbing process used to impress the design onto the working dies was improperly executed, causing a noticeable doubling of elements like the date, the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." And when such doubling is crisp, distinct, and easily visible to the naked eye, or even with minimal magnification, its rarity skyrockets, and so does its market value, with some 2007 DDO specimens reaching between $300 to $422, especially when found in higher grades with strong luster and minimal contact marks. And then there's the intriguing case of misaligned dies, where the obverse and reverse dies do not properly align vertically, leading to coins that appear tilted or slanted, which distorts the symmetry of the coin and instantly signals to collectors that an error is present. And while such misaligned die errors may seem like a curiosity to the average observer, they are highly pursued by numismatists, particularly when combined with other anomalies like die cracks or cuds, which occur when parts of the die break off, leading to raised unstruck areas on the coin surface that almost look like blobs or scars. And these imperfections are not just physical irregularities but stories etched into copper-plated zinc, telling tales of flawed machinery, worn tools, and human oversight. And speaking of copper plating, one must remember that the 2007 penny was made of a zinc core with a thin copper coating, which often leads to plating issues such as bubbles, peeling, or even missing sections, which manifest as odd surface textures or exposed silvery areas that further intrigue collectors, particularly when they occur in unexpected zones like Lincoln's cheek, the memorial columns, or around the rim. And when these plating anomalies are found in conjunction with strike-through errors, where foreign material like grease, wire, or cloth becomes lodged between the die and planchette during striking, the resulting impression can resemble ghost-like smudges or missing design elements, which make the coin not only unusual but in some cases unique, depending on the pattern and coverage. And uniqueness is the name of the game in the world of coin collecting, because the rarer and more distinctive the error, the more significant its potential market value. And many 2007 pennies with such dual or compound errors have crossed auction blocks with hammer prices in the $350 to $422 range, particularly when encapsulated and graded by top-tier third-party grading companies like PCGS or NGC, who authenticate the coin and confirm the error's legitimacy, thus granting the buyer peace of mind and the seller a justified premium. and we must not ignore the influence of mint mark varieties, especially those from the Denver Mint, where slight differences in punch alignment or repunched mint marks, known as RPMs, have been spotted on 2007 AD cents, leading to the identification of scarce subtypes that fuel competitive demand among registry set collectors. And then there are the so-called transitional errors, where remnants of previous die designs, incorrect planchets, or outdated dies accidentally get used during production, such as cents struck on foreign planchets like those intended for coins of other countries or other US denominations, which, though rare, have indeed occurred. And when a 2007 penny is found weighing significantly less or more than 2.5 grams, it becomes a candidate for metallurgical investigation that may reveal a minting error involving the wrong metal composition. And examples like these, where a 2007 cent is struck on a dime planchet or a leftover experimental blank from an earlier test run, create a whole new layer of value, often surpassing $400 due to their extreme scarcity and novelty. And collectors also look for visual cues like broad strikes where the collar die fails to hold the planchet in place during striking, allowing metal to expand outward, resulting in a coin that appears wider and without a defined rim. And such broad-struck 2007 cents with well-centered detail often generate prices between $250 to $400, depending on the extent and eye appeal of the anomaly. And let's not forget about struck-through retained grease errors, where the residue actually stays on the die for multiple strikes, creating a bizarre ghosted or missing feature effect like a floating head or a faceless Lincoln that confounds the viewer and demands attention from error specialists who thrive on cataloging and identifying such unexpected numismatic events. And over time, as more collectors have taken interest in error coins, particularly from the 2000s decade, the demand for premium examples of the 2007 cent with strong die deterioration, doubling, reverse dyed chips, or pre-strike planchet damage has only grown, leading to an upward trend in realized sales both online and through in-person coin shows. And this surge in interest has not only driven up the prices but also encouraged more people to hunt through pocket change, bank rolls, and inherited coin jars in hopes of uncovering one of these valuable pennies that masquerade as mundane change. And it's important to understand that what makes the 2007 penny so captivating is not just a single earth-shattering error, but the multitude of possible mistakes and the different combinations they can present, each creating a narrative of what went wrong at the mint and how that error manifested itself in copper and zinc. And for this reason, the 2007 Lincoln cent holds an enduring appeal among modern US coin errors, because it offers collectors a wide array of targets to pursue, from double dies and misaligned strikes to cap die strikes where the die face becomes covered by a previously struck coin, creating ghost-like images on subsequent strikes that leave the next coin with a faded, almost mystical appearance, which can elevate the value well past the $422 mark, especially if the cap die strike covers the full obverse and yields a flattened, indistinct portrait of Lincoln. And so, as you can see, whether it's the physical deformity of a rim clip, the eerie presence of die polishing lines that erase parts of the design, or the accidental inclusion of foreign material, every error found on a 2007 1-cent piece contributes to the story that transforms a 1-cent coin into a high-value collectible. And while not every 2007 penny will be worth hundreds, those bearing legitimate and verified errors, especially those in uncirculated or mint state condition, have repeatedly proven that small imperfections can lead to big payoffs. And with an increasing number of collectors entering the hobby and new technologies enabling better identification of errors, the 2007 penny's status as a modern marvel of minting mishaps continues to grow. So make sure to check your change carefully, learn to spot the signs of these valuable errors, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find one of these $422 treasures hiding in plain sight. And if you found this journey through the fascinating world of the 2007 error penny enlightening and exciting, then make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible stories of coins that changed lives and changed the way we see money. Next, 1998 D1 cent USA coin. Today, we dive deep into one of the most intriguing coins that has captivated collectors, historians, and numismatic enthusiasts alike, the 1998 D1 cent coin, a penny minted in Denver that, due to its remarkable errors and unexpected mistakes, has been recorded to fetch as much as $401 in the collector's market. A staggering leap from its humble face value of just 1 cent, and the story behind how a coin so common in appearance has become so incredibly Valuable is one that stretches through a fascinating blend of minting process anomalies, rare die varieties, production oversight, historical context, and the obsessive attention to detail that collectors wield when seeking numismatic treasures that rise far beyond face value, because the 1998 D-penny is not just a copper-plated zinc disc that once jingled in change pouches or fell unnoticed between car seats. It is a gateway into the art of minting errors, and perhaps more intriguingly, into the realm of scarcity-driven demand, where what appears to be mundane becomes magnificent due to a perfect storm of missteps and chance, starting with its creation in the Denver Mint, where millions upon millions of coins were struck, each intended to be perfect replicas of one another, each bearing the unmistakable portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, with the small yet significant D mint mark indicating it came from Denver. And while most of these coins passed through the quality control systems without raising an eyebrow, a very small number did not, and those few, tainted by errors, became numismatic celebrities because collectors thrive on the unexpected, the rare, the flawed, and the difficult to find, and the 1998 D-penny delivers on all fronts due to a multitude of errors that occurred during its striking, including die clashes, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, double dies, repunched mint marks, and planchette errors, each of which contributes to an elevated value depending on the severity and visibility of the flaw. And among the most sought-after errors in the 1998 D-penny are the double die obverses where Lincoln's features or the inscriptions like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date 1998 appear slightly or even boldly doubled, an error caused when the die itself was improperly manufactured through multiple misaligned impressions, and though doubling on modern coins is rare due to improvements in the die creation process, when it happens, especially on a year like 1998 with already limited known examples, the result is an instant collector's item, and if that doubling occurs on the obverse and is crisp and bold enough to be seen with the naked eye or through a 10x loop, collectors are willing to pay a premium for that uniqueness. And then there are off-center strikes, which occur when the planchette, the blank coin disc, is not properly aligned within the press, resulting in coins that can range from slightly misaligned to widely off-center, with a visible crescent-shaped blank area that adds a strong visual appeal and collector desirability, especially when both the date and mint mark are still fully visible, which is essential in assessing its market value. And a 1998 D-penny with an off-center strike that preserves these elements can fetch hundreds, making even 10% off-center coins valuable, while those over 50% off-center and still readable may cross well into triple-digit price territory. And the repunched mint mark error is another standout among 1998 D specimens, involving cases where the D mint mark was punched more than once in slightly different positions, resulting in a noticeable shadow or doubling effect around the mint mark, an anomaly stemming from manual mint mark placement processes that had largely been phased out but somehow still manifested in select 1998 D coins, a numismatic quirk that signals either transitional error or leftover dies from prior years, both of which excite error coin enthusiasts due to their implications on mint procedures and the rarity of such combinations. And when such a repunched mint mark appears in conjunction with another error, such as a double die or off-center strike, the value can multiply substantially because compound errors are even more prized than single issues, not to mention die cracks and cuds, which are forms of die deterioration where metal flows into the cracks or into a space caused by a broken die fragment, creating raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin surface, often near the rim or inscriptions. And while these might seem like imperfections, they are beloved by error collectors who treat them as mint-made anomalies rather than damage, especially when they appear prominently and cleanly. And such cracks and cuds on a 1998 D-penny can form unique variety identifiers that turn ordinary cents into catalogued and tracked rarities within online communities, coin shows, and auction listings. And then we must consider planchette errors like clipped planchets, where a coin appears to have had a bite taken out of it due to the metal blank overlapping during punching, or improper alloy mixing, where the coin might display a darker or streaked surface, all adding further intrigue and possible value. And with 1998 being a post-transition year from the 95% copper composition to the copper-plated zinc composition that began in 1982, a few off-metal strikes using either Incorrect blanks or transitional planches have been rumored or reported, and while rare, a 1998 D penny struck on a foreign planchet or on an experimental blank could catapult the coin's worth dramatically depending on metal content, weight, and compatibility with known issues. And in terms of weight, 1998 D pennies should typically weigh 2.5 grams due to the zinc core. So any deviation from that may suggest a wrong planchet or striking error, prompting collectors to test weight and metal content through precise scales and analysis. And let's not forget the role of striking pressure and die wear, which can result in weak strikes where design details appear mushy or underdeveloped, leading to lower collector interest unless combined with other rarities, while strong strikes with crisp doubling or alignment anomalies are far more sought after. And all these errors are made more interesting when you consider their population scarcity, as the 1998 D penny, though produced in the hundreds of millions, only has a tiny fraction of its specimens bearing these errors, making error hunting a thrilling, needle-in-a-haystack endeavor. And when you pair this rarity with high demand from error coin collectors, educational numismatists, and general enthusiasts, the result is escalating market value, with auction records showing examples sold for over $401 when in high grade, particularly MS65 or above, and with recognized errors clearly visible and authenticated by third-party grading services such as PCGS or NGC, whose encapsulated slabs certify authenticity and error classification, giving buyers confidence and justification to pay premiums. And even raw coins, those not professionally graded, can command hundreds when offered on auction platforms like eBay or heritage auctions if clear photographs reveal dramatic and well-preserved errors. And with error coin YouTube channels and TikTok accounts going viral with dramatic zoom-ins and magnifications of double dies and minting anomalies, public interest continues to rise, expanding the audience and demand beyond traditional coin collecting circles into pop culture and casual investing, all of which feeds the cycle of appreciation for coins like the 1998 D penny with its host of fascinating mint-made mistakes. And collectors looking for these coins are advised to keep a magnifying glass and scale handy, scour pocket change, coin rolls, and bulk copper lots sold online or at flea markets, always on the hunt for slight variances in strike, alignment, text, portrait definition, edge formation, and even surface color, because any one of those details might be the doorway into a valuable find. And as more coins are studied and new varieties documented, the numismatic community continues to refine what we know about the 1998 D cent, and with every new discovery, whether a previously undocumented die crack, a new example of a repunched mint mark, or an unusually dramatic off-center strike, the story grows deeper and more nuanced, and the opportunity for everyday people to find small fortunes in their change becomes all the more exciting, turning coin collecting from a niche hobby into a treasure hunt with real, tangible payoff. So if you happen to come across a 1998 D penny with something unusual about its appearance, be it the doubling on Liberty, a strange blob on the rim, an off-center strike, or a mint mark that seems to echo itself, don't dismiss it or toss it back into circulation, because that could be your ticket to hundreds of dollars, especially if it is authenticated, well-preserved, and marketed to the right audience. And remember, the beauty of the coin hobby lies not just in rarity, but in the story and human curiosity it ignites. And with so many possible minting errors converging on 1 year and mint like 1998 D, it becomes clear why this small, overlooked penny has grown in collector esteem and why it continues to rise in value with specimens sold for up to $401 and beyond, making it not only a fascinating piece of numismatic history but also a potent reminder that great value can lie hidden in plain sight. Next, 2003 D1 cent USA coin collectors, enthusiasts, and treasure hunters unite to explore the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden gems, and unexpected fortune tucked within the smallest of pocket change. And today we're diving deep into an extraordinary coin that has captured the interest of numismatists across the country, the 2003 D1 cent coin. A penny that on the surface appears just like any other, but due to a combination of rare minting errors, historical significance, and collector demand, can now fetch as much as $396 on the open market. And we'll be unpacking every possible reason why a coin that was once worth a mere 1 cent has become such a highly sought-after item among collectors. So settle in as we unfold the mystery, rarity, and fortune behind the 2003 AD Lincoln cent, starting with the backdrop of its production, which happened at the Denver Mint, one of the principal mints responsible for circulating coinage in the United States and renowned for its quality control standards, which ironically makes errors from this mint even more valuable due to their relative scarcity. And as with many valuable coins, the errors that define the 2003 AD penny's worth are not always apparent at first glance, but they are undeniably significant once identified, and the first of these is the double die, a type of error that occurs during the die creation process when the die used to stamp the image on the coin receives a double imprint of the design, leading to visual doubling on letters, numbers, or design elements, and in the case of the 2003 AD penny, certain examples have been discovered with doubling particularly visible on the obverse side, most notably around the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date itself, where close inspection under magnification reveals the doubling of the letters and numerals, which gives the coin a distinctive and eye-catching look that collectors are willing to pay a premium for. But that's not all, because another contributing factor to the value of certain 2003 AD cents is the presence of off-center strikes, a classic mint error where the coin blank is not properly aligned with the dies during the striking process, resulting in a coin that is partially blank or with a misaligned design. And while minor off-center strikes are common and don't command much value, coins struck 10 to 15% or more off-center, while still retaining full or near full date and mint mark, are highly desirable and can significantly increase the penny's market price, sometimes pushing it close to that $396 mark depending on the severity and aesthetic appeal of the error. And yet there's even more to discover as we consider another rarity, which is the clipped planchette error, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to an irregularity during the blank cutting process, resulting in a curved or straight clip that, when authenticated, also contributes greatly to the coin's collectability. And on the subject of planchette errors, there are also examples of 2003 AD pennies that were mistakenly struck on the wrong metal or foreign planches, such as dimes or planches intended for other denominations or countries, and these off-metal errors are exceedingly rare but incredibly valuable, as they combine both the intrigue of a mint error and the unique identity of a hybrid coin. And collectors will often pay top dollar to own something so unmistakably unusual. But the story doesn't end with just the physical attributes of the coin, because there are also considerations involving historical mintage context, population reports, and the coin's condition, or grade, which plays a critical role in establishing its value. And when we talk about grading, we refer to the scale used by professional coin grading services like PCGS or NGC, which ranges from poor, PEV1, to perfect uncirculated, MS70. And a 2003 D penny exhibiting a major error and graded MS65 or higher is especially scarce, increasing its desirability and price among competitive collectors. And even examples in slightly lower mint state grades can command impressive premiums if the error is significant enough, particularly because many error coins tend to be overlooked and spent into circulation, thereby incurring wear and damage that diminishes their value, which makes finding a high-grade error from this year an exciting and potentially lucrative discovery. And speaking of discoveries, it's important to acknowledge the role of die breaks, cuds, and die chips in elevating the worth of the 2003 AD penny, as these types of errors are caused by damage or deterioration of the dies themselves, resulting in raised, irregular blobs of metal on the coin's surface where parts of the design have become distorted, missing, or replaced by a rough texture. And while such defects were once considered nuisances, they have become widely appreciated in the collecting community for their uniqueness and character, especially when they take on shapes or patterns that appear almost intentional, such as Lincoln with an extra ear, or letters with extra thickness or distorted appearance, all of which spark interest and demand from error coin aficionados. And furthermore, we must consider the so-called floating roof variety of the 2003 D penny, where the upper lines of the Lincoln memorial appear disconnected from the pillars due to excessive polishing of the die, creating the illusion that the roof is floating without support. And although this is a subtle flaw, it's one that fascinates collectors and further boosts the coin's desirability. And when such varieties are combined, say, a floating roof with doubling or a die crack, the rarity multiplies, making it even more valuable and appealing on the collector market. But we cannot ignore the influence of coin hoarders and modern penny roll hunters who meticulously sift through thousands of coins looking for such anomalies, and their discoveries add to the documented examples and shape the trends within the numismatic community, often leading to price spikes when a particular variety becomes known and sought after. And this market behavior means that the value of a 2003 AD penny with verified errors is not fixed but can fluctuate depending on collector demand, auction results, and exposure on social media platforms or collector forums. And over time, as more people become aware of the value hiding in their loose change, competition for rare varieties increases, driving up prices further. And let's not forget the influence of population scarcity, because even though the 2003 AD penny was minted in the hundreds of millions, only a tiny fraction of these bear the kinds of mistakes that make them valuable, and an even smaller fraction are found in high enough condition to warrant serious attention from investors and collectors. And this combination of error rarity, condition rarity, and increased public interest creates the perfect storm for dramatic price appreciation, which is why it is entirely feasible that one of these pennies could command a price of $396 or more, especially if it is certified by a reputable grading service and featured in a prominent auction or collection. And beyond the technical details, there is a psychological aspect to coin collecting that also contributes to the rising value of coins like the 2003 AD penny, because for many, collecting is not just a hobby but a hunt, a journey, a passion fueled by the thrill of finding something extraordinary in the ordinary. And when that ordinary penny turns out to be a once-in-a-million anomaly, it transforms from pocket change into a prize, a symbol of patience and attention to detail. And such emotional value cannot be underestimated, as it often results in bidding wars and emotional purchases that push prices higher than expected. And we also need to factor in the role of provenance. If a 2003 AD penny with errors has a known history or has been featured in publications or well-known collections, its prestige and market value rise even further, and collectors often see these coins as both historical artifacts and financial assets, especially in a world where alternative investments like rare collectibles are gaining popularity. And given that coins are tangible, portable, and easily stored, their appeal as a store of value grows in uncertain economic times, making rare error pennies a viable option for those looking to diversify their holdings or simply own a piece of history. And with increasing awareness and growing competition, the value of the 2003 AD era penny is likely to continue its upward trend, particularly as more high-profile examples come to light and achieve noteworthy prices at auction, thereby reinforcing their status and inspiring a new wave of enthusiasts to examine their change more closely. And in conclusion, the 2003 D1 cent coin stands as a perfect example of how a simple minting oversight can transform a common object into a rare treasure. And whether it's due to a double die, off-center strike, clip planchette, die crack, floating roof, or some yet undiscovered anomaly, this coin represents the incredible possibilities that lie within everyday money, and serves as a testament to the enduring excitement and surprise that coin collecting offers. So the next time you handle a penny, especially one from 2003 with that little D mint mark, take a closer look. Because you just might be holding something worth far more than 1 cent, perhaps even a small fortune. And with growing interest, a supportive collector community, and rising values, the humble 2003 AD penny has secured its place among the modern treasures of American coinage.